Hello friends, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something intense. Because we're not just talking about history. We're dropping you into it. Let me ask you a simple, terrifying question. Would you survive the Black Death? The pandemic that swept across Europe in the 14th century and killed tens of millions. A disaster so massive it erased entire towns from the map. But here's the twist. This isn't a documentary. This is a survival scenario. Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. You wake up in 1348. No antibiotics. No vaccines. No hospitals the way we know them. No knowledge of bacteria, viruses, or germs. People don't know what causes disease. They blame bad air. They blame curses. They blame God. And the worst part? Death isn't somewhere far away. It's outside your door. The Black Death was caused by a bacterium called Yersinia pestis. It spread mainly through fleas, and those fleas lived on rats. Now picture medieval cities, crowded streets, narrow alleys, trash piled near homes, animals walking freely. There's no real sewage system in many places. Waste ends up in the streets. Dirty water runs in open channels. And rats? Rats are everywhere. In markets, in basements, in bedrooms, sometimes literally in your walls. When an infected flea bites you, it doesn't look dramatic at first. It's just a tiny bite. But inside your body, something begins. At first you might think it's just a fever. You feel cold even when wrapped in blankets. Your head throbs, your muscles ache like you've been beaten. You try to work but you can't focus. You can barely stand. Then the real horror begins. Your lymph nodes swell, and suddenly you have a lump on your neck, or in your armpit, or in your groin. It grows fast, sometimes within hours, becoming the size of an egg, then an apple. These are buboes. They're hot, painful, and horrifying to look at. The skin around them darkens. Some victims begin vomiting. Others bleed internally. Some develop black patches on their fingers and toes as the tissue starts dying. That's where the name Black Death comes from. And the timeline is brutal. Many people die within 2 to 3 days. Now imagine you step outside. The city feels wrong. Shops are closed. People avoid eye contact. The streets are quieter than they should be. Then you hear it. A bell ringing in the distance, not for church. Not for celebration, for death. You pass a house with a warning mark on the door. Inside, someone is sick. Some families lock themselves in. Others throw the sick out of fear, out of desperation. You smell smoke and strong herbs. People burn incense, believing it will clean the air. And then you see the carts, wooden carts moving slowly through town, collecting bodies. Sometimes there are so many bodies they don't even bury them properly. They throw them into pits. Mass graves. Here's what makes this scenario so deadly. You don't know what's safe. Is it safe to touch a doorknob? Is it safe to drink water from the well? Is it safe to be near someone who coughs? The truth is the plague came in different forms. Bubonic plague through flea bites causing buboes. Pneumonic plague, infecting lungs spreading through coughs, fast and deadly. So even if you avoid rats, one cough in the wrong place could end you. And now you must decide. You hear rumors. People are dying in the city center. Don't go near the market. Stay away from strangers. Leave now before it reaches your street. So what do? Option 1, you stay in the city where there's food, walls, and familiar shelter, but also crowds, rats, and constant exposure. Option 2, you flee to the countryside where there are fewer people, but less protection, fewer supplies, and unknown danger. And here's the scary part. Either choice could save you or kill you. Because in part 2, we're going to talk about what really happened to people who ran, what quarantine looked like back then, and what the smartest survival choices would have been. Stay tuned for more insights into survival during the Black Death. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more historical adventures. Join us next time as we dive deeper into the struggle for survival amidst one of history's darkest times. Together, we will uncover the tenacity of the human spirit in the face of disaster. As we reflect on the past, we learn lessons that are relevant even today. History has much to teach us about perseverance, empathy, and community. So let's keep exploring our history together. Join us as we journey through time, unveiling the stories that connect us all. Together we will learn from our past to build a better future. Let's sow the seeds of knowledge and understanding for generations to come. Together, we can create a brighter future by remembering our history. Let's keep the conversations going and never forget the lessons history has taught us. Join us as we honor the past while looking forward to a hopeful future. You made your choice. Maybe you ran from the city, maybe you stayed. Either way, the plague doesn't care about your plans. Because the Black Death didn't spread like a normal disaster. It spread like a shadow. If you flee to the countryside, let's say you decide to escape. You pack what you can. Food, cloth, maybe a knife. You travel on foot or by cart. The roads are filled with people doing the same thing. Families, merchants, monks. Everyone trying to outrun something they can't even see. But here's the deadly truth. When people fled, they often carried the plague with them. A traveler brings rats in their supplies. A flea hides in clothing. A sick person coughs in a crowded inn. And suddenly a quiet village becomes the next disaster. Some villages learn quickly. They see strangers approaching, and they panic. They close the gates. They form armed groups. They refuse entry. Not because they're cruel, but because they've seen what happens when they let people in. If you're outside those gates, hungry and exhausted, you might be left to die. If you stay in the city, if you stayed, your world shrinks. You avoid crowds, you stop going to the market. You stop visiting friends. You hear screams at night. You hear prayers through walls, and you start noticing signs. A neighbor disappears. A family goes silent. A house is boarded up. You begin living like you're already in quarantine. But without rules, without guidance, without medicine. The birth of quarantine. Here's a wild historical detail. The word quarantine comes from the idea of 40 days. Some port cities, especially in Italy, began forcing ships to wait offshore before docking. They believed time would reveal who was sick. Did they understand bacteria? No. But they accidentally discovered something powerful. Isolation slowed the spread. The problem? Most places didn't enforce it early enough. And people didn't trust it. Some thought isolation was a trap. Others thought the plague was punishment. So they joined massive religious gatherings, which made it worse. What would actually increase your chances? If you had modern knowledge but medieval tools. Your best survival plan would be simple but hard. 1. Avoid crowds completely. Markets, churches, gatherings, these were hotspots. 2. Keep distance from sick people, even family, especially if coughing begins. 3. Control pests as much as possible. Rats and fleas were major carriers. You'd want clean storage, raised beds, and no food left open. 4. Stay clean. Even small hygiene steps could reduce risk. 5. Don't sleep where rats live. Basements, barns, tight wooden floors, danger zones. Of course, in 1348, most people couldn't do all of this. They lived packed together. They had no choice but to work. They shared water, rooms, and food. Who survived most often? Survival wasn't random, but it also wasn't fair. Some people survived because they lived in less crowded areas. They had stronger immune systems. They had fewer flea bites. Or they carried genetic traits that provided resistance. And here's the chilling thought. The Black Death was so deadly that it actually changed the genetic makeup of populations over generations. It selected survivors in a strange way. The plague reshaped humanity. The uncomfortable truth. Now let's be honest. If you were an average person in the 14th century, living in a city, working daily, exposed constantly, your chances would be low. Not because you're weak, not because you're careless, but because the world didn't understand what it was fighting. The Black Death didn't just kill people. It destroyed trust. It shattered families. It turned neighbors into strangers, and it left scars on history that never fully faded. Final question. So now I ask you again. If you were there, with medieval knowledge, medieval tools, medieval fear, would you survive the Black Death? Or would you become one of the millions swallowed by history? Outro. Call to action. If you enjoyed this kind of history survival video, leave a like and share it. And if you want more dark, real, fascinating moments from history, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.